Hey everybody, I'm back from Texas, and I said this to my wife this morning. I was like, I got a man crush on Texas. I never seen so many young brothers with cowboy hats that look so good. I was like, I might have to bust me a cowboy hat and some boots because they were wearing it well. And I'm just saying, I'm old enough that I can actually do that now. I have to represent the Midwest and give a little Texas flair. So if you see me in a cowboy hat, don't hate on me. Don't hate on me. Now, uh, there's a gentleman who's been gathering my attention. Like when this person speaks, I am riveted. I am riveted on so many levels because he's speaking from his heart. He's speaking from his mind. He's speaking from his spirit. And he's speaking about the industry. And that's my man, W. Betances. How did wait? First of all, I did not picture you as a Wilson.
I get that a lot. That
I
that it pops up a lot. It pops up a lot.
Wilson. I mean, and you got three names at that. And I was like, is this guy a serial killer? What's going on?
I know. It depends who I'm talking to. When if things are good, I have one name. When things are bad, I got another name.
So let's go. I mean, you're on the East Coast, and you're working in the trades, and your big conversation is about trades. What ignited the passion to say, hey, I have to say the things that people aren't saying?
I think it all started coming into the trades. I think we can all agree that we're learned or we're taught a certain way.
Bad
There,
or and good.
yeah, bad, good, you're taught a certain way. And it becomes a culture thing. And what's so funny is when you then, as you start growing, you start meeting new people. And as I started traveling, or when content started, I started sharing, like, hey, this is what I experienced. And people are like, I went through the same thing. It's like, okay, that's one person. Then you're online and you're like, oh, a lot of people are going through the same thing. And in my head, I'm like, how are we more connected than ever? But we're all dealing with these same stigmas, these same pain points.
Are you talking about some of the things like when you're a newbie coming in, and it's almost like a rite of passage, a hazing that you go through? It's and the best way is if you got an old school dad, do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly. It's the rite of passage, but at the same time, it's that old school mentality. So it's affects the ones coming in as well as if you stick through it 10 to 20, 30 years, you're gonna look like sound like those same people.
Yeah,
So it's the culture. It's how basically if you're a chick and you're in the incubator, that's how you're gonna end up. So in my head, I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. There's nothing about this that's attractive to me. When
right.
they say, hey, I've been doing this for 30 years and their back is blown out, their knees don't work. And I'm like, I don't want to be you. Like respectfully, of course. You know
You,
what I mean? I'm like, but I don't want this for my life.
that's. I'm glad that you actually said that, the physicality of it, because I've been trained in solar, and I really got into physically training on the roof in my 40s. Most of the before that was heavy, deep technical stuff, but I got into the physical part of it in my 40s, and I realized my ankles aren't built for this anymore.
Hmm.
I did too many dunks when I was in my 20s, and now those feet and knees. And then I would go and participate with job fairs, and gentlemen and ladies would come up to me, say, "Hey, I really want to install solar." And I would have to be blunt, and I would have to say, "You have to lose 40 pounds
Hmm.
to think about getting up on a roof, to getting up on a structure." And I just hate that you might want to rethink that. Maybe you could be in warehouse, maybe you could be a permitting, maybe you could be something else, but it won't be installing unless it's a ground mount.
Yep. Yep. And then two sides of that. One, it's awesome that solar allows you to be in so many different places or so
Yeah.
many different departments. That's what's awesome about the trade. But at the same time, it's that longevity. And if you come into it just thinking, oh, I'm going to do this for a check, I'm going to do this just to get by, just to get my 40, you're just going to be in this wheel that's going to eventually break you down physically,
Yeah.
emotionally, culturally, you name it. It's just not sustainable long term.
Yeah, I tell people, and I don't know about you, maybe I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Tell people you should be the master of your craft, no matter what that is. And it's not an overnight thing. It's a striving to be a master. It's like the Shaolin Buddhist. He doesn't start off, he has to go through all those temples,
Hmm.
and then he has to study up on a master under a master for a long time before he can be even considered. But to someone who's average, that person is a master. And the reason I say that is because I just did a introduction to virtual power plants in Texas. And people were like, whoa. And this is what I'm saying. This industry is evolving and it's evolving fast, and things are coming newer than iPhones coming out per season. So you really have to study. You can't just go to work, get your check, come home, play PlayStation. You have to come home, you have to go to YouTube, check out some videos, you have to read some documents, you have to go to conferences, you have to talk with your coworkers and see what they know. These are the things that I was talking about. But you're talking about breaking the stigmas that are old school because we're in a totally new century now. What are some of the things that, and if you could give me some of the examples of the stigmas that you were talking about, besides like, I've been doing this for 30 years, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest one right now. We literally been traveling the US talking about that. I've been doing this for 30 years and breaking that down, it's literally opening up for a conversation because I'm not talking and disregarding all the work someone's been doing for the last 30 years.
Mm,
Come on. Let's be realistic. But it's funny how no matter where you go, no matter what job site you are, there's going to be one guy who's going to say that, and they're going to say it as in that's a trump card. You can't question him now. Oh, he got it for 30 years. What I say is that 30-year mentality. You can be first day on the job, and if you're in the job site with that mentality of there's nothing you can teach me,
yeah.
you're just as bad as doing it for 30 years for the wrong way. So that's what I like to open up for conversation. It's not that phrase in itself.
Yeah.
It's when they use it as a trump card and then don't use it as with any backing. So
Yeah.
that's one stigma.
Yeah.
The other stigma is specifically when it comes to the trades, we talk a lot about culture, we talk a lot about pricing. A lot of people go, don't lower your prices. That's another stigma where we hear business people talk about. There's other stigmas out there where it talks about hazing is part of the job. You have to be hazed. You have to get your stripes in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another one, it's you look at someone's boots, and if they clean, you're going to get roasted for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? The soft hands. There's all these different types of stigmas that revolve around our industry. And I think that's where, when it comes to solar, they're not expecting that because solar's so new. It's an infant compared to all these other mainstream trades.
Yeah. And that's one of the items that I picked up on over the years. So my dad was an electrician. That's what piqued my whole interest into sciences was my dad being an electrician. And my dad would take me on jobs when I was as young as 8.
Wow.
We were doing knob and tube things.
Hmm.
And so he had this program that he basically run, $25 an outlet back in the day.
Wow.
And you know who was pulling that Romex?
That was you?
That was me,
Yeah.
busting through those lat walls and things like that. But my
Yep.
dad showed me that stuff. But to this day, he's no longer working, but my dad didn't know low voltage. And today, your 240, your 277, your 600 volts, they're controlled by low voltage.
Hmm.
So you have to know the go-betweens now. You can't just say, okay, I hooked the wires up. How come it's not working? You have to be able to like understand the system.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
so I understand what you're saying. Like, I've been in this 30 years. Well, it's changed a lot in 30 years.
Yeah, and just in electrical, the code updates every 3 years. So
Oh,
it's like, okay, you know something, you know it all. Okay, in 3 years, what's up?
yeah. I mean, we just had a revamping, like, particularly in the solar aspect. There were definitions that were part of like the 690.
So,
It's been
yep,
moved totally out of it. So if you're going
hmm
off of an old book and you're like, what does this mean? It may be outdated, it may be changed. And then we
exactly.
have the new code that Sean White was just talking about, they're working on now. So there's a lot of things that are happening. When it comes to leadership, what was your inspiration to say, either I want to be like that person, or I am not going to be like that person, that person?
In my life, I've always had mentors. And it's weird. Like the more I think about it, it's like it had to be God. If you're listening and you got any other higher being in your life, it had to be some, because every time I went through something, there was somebody who was just like hanging around me. And I was like, and they would just always give advice. And when I went through trade school, when I went into the workforce, into the union, when I went into inspecting, there was always somebody who always just like gave me a little extra attention.
Yeah,
And I was like, I want to be like that. And not saying that they had all the answers, but they just told me and taught me how to deal with people.
yeah.
It had nothing to do with work. And I would get, I'm telling you, the most random advice, the most random advice. It would just be like, Will, do me a favor. I'll be like, what? He goes, don't smile so much. And I'll be like, why? He goes, it's not to dim your light, but if you're not smiling, people don't know if it's today's that day. If this is going to be the straw that just if you're smiling, everybody wants to bully you. You know what I mean? And he was like, just bring the temperature down here, and people are going to be like, let it go. They won't confront something. There is another guy. He would always say like, hey, Will, do me a favor. When you're talking to someone, look him in the eye and just pause.
Ooh, ooh.
They will just tell me like random things how to deal with people. And then I'm like, why are they telling me all these things? And then when I started like applying it, I'm like, people start freaking out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, or Will, you mess up. When you mess up, call somebody and say you messed up and watch how much they still like you.
That's
Just little things of accountability and conversation. It just blew my mind.
that last one you just said, that needs to be shared with the world right now
Mm.
because we live in this cancel culture and we have a bunch of young people who are getting into the trades and they're looking at cancel culture that permeates their being into the work culture. So instead of saying, hey, I messed up, I need help, they're hiding it, sweeping it under the rug. So that is very important just to be honest and be human.
And I didn't reckon I was always I'm trying not to go down the rabbit hole, but it's like when
That's
everybody plays life as in you have to be perfect. When they play life or speak or talk, and you always feel like life's a test. You're always like uptight, always trying to make sure everything that you don't want to make mistakes. And I literally made the most progress when I admitted
yeah,
my mistakes. And now
yeah.
with business, with contracts, with people, I'm like, I messed up. And they're like, oh no, thanks for letting me. And let's go back to solar. Let's say you miss a rafter. Let's say you leave a hole unplugged. Let's say you fell through the drywall. Let's say you fail inspection, right? That's a typical job any given day
Yeah.
of the week, anywhere in the US, right? And you tell the homeowner, hey, we messed up, we're gonna fix it. You don't say nothing. What happens? BBB reviews. They want to get their money back. They want to cancel the contract. And now we just broke this. We just broke the respect, the little respect that we had when it came to solar with that one homeowner because we didn't take accountability. It's something so small where hey, we messed up on this. We're going to fix it. Just wanted to let you know. And they're like, oh, appreciate you letting me know. It's not a
Yeah.
surprise to them. This, you will always get a bad review when you don't speak up and you try to sweep it under the rug. And then
Yes,
they find out.
yes, yes. I mean, unless someone is just out to get you or someone has issues, but usually that honesty and that communication is what makes the customer feel appreciated, that you trust that they will understand and be mature about it. What got you into solar? I mean, because as going into the trades, you could do a lot of stuff. You could be working in a manufacturing plant. You could be just doing, I mean, we have these data centers that are coming up. They need people bad.
Yeah.
You have EVs, but you said, I'm going to go to renewables.
Yeah. So as you know, you touched on it before, I went through the electrical program, got my electrical license over here in Connecticut. When you get your E1, your electrical unlimited electrical contractor's license,
Yeah.
you can now touch every aspect of electrical, low voltage, high, residential, commercial, fire alarm, data,
But
solar's
lineman is a
under that.
different one, right? Lineman is a whole different.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And then when you get that E1, solar falls under the E1. And
Okay.
that's where I started recognizing like, okay, electrical touches everything. When it comes to solar, people keep saying we need more solar technicians, we need more solar courses. I'm going to argue with you and I say we need more licensed electricians. You can't pull a permit without a license. You can't pull a permit with that certification. You know, you need a licensed electrician who's going to dictate the flow, dictate the standards, dictate the minimum code compliance that's needed for that install. At the end of the day, all these other certifications are complements to that license.
Yeah.
So that's where I started recognizing. I also became an electrical inspector, and it was in the boom of 2020, 2022, where my number one inspection was 6 solar inspections a day versus one residential job.
Yeah. And that's one of the common conversations, particularly in new markets or emerging markets, is the inspectors don't understand what they're inspecting.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They're looking at the technician or the installer and saying, plans look right, but they don't know the nuances. They don't,
yep,
because you got to know structural and how that structural comes into play. You got to know code. You got to know local jurisdiction, what code you're on for that in the solar. And a lot of people don't even know the solar. A lot of inspectors that I've seen, and I'm not saying all, but I've witnessed this. They didn't even know that there was a specific section
yeah,
for solar.
yeah. That's a whole nother argument to go down because when you go throughout the states, when you go through different boroughs, different cities, what they have are like building officials who know a little about everything.
Yeah,
There's no specific. Over here in Connecticut, we're fortunate where we have towns, bigger cities, where they have a dedicated electrical inspector. So for a solar project, you're going to have a building official who's going to check out structural, awesome, with an electrician on site.
got you.
So that helps out. A lot of these smaller towns or throughout America, they just have one building official. Once again, it's a guy who, on his second pension, getting ready to move out. Guess what? If he has hey son, I've been doing this for 30 years. 30 years ago, solar wasn't around. Tell me what I failed in. What's he going to do? He's going to put his hand in that box and wiggle it. If it's tight, then he's going to be like, all right, it's going to work
Yeah, that's
because he
pretty
ain't
big.
getting on that ladder. You know,
It
it's
that's
this is the
deep.
stuff that we see all the time, and that's why I love going around the US and when we do these trainings, we get to talk to these guys and you know, they throw out that stigma, they throw out that phrase, and I'm like, okay, like what's next?
So you talked about, you know, you as an electrician, as an inspector, what is your business model? Because you start talking about trainings. So are you offering trainings for inspections for the AHJs around you, or is it national, or just you tell me?
So I have two businesses when it comes to this area. We have our electrical contracting business. We have a few contracts here in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and the Northeast pocket. But then we also work and opened up our non-for-profit trade school. So our trade school, we have three pillars that we focus on, and that's media, education, professional development. With everybody online right now and the attention and where do people go look for resources, that's our media channel. That's how we got in contact. That's our videos, spark a conversation. But then that funnels everybody down to our education. Our education, as you know, can be broken down into many different things. We have apprenticeship training, which is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
We're helping people get into the trade, get licensed, and focus on that apprenticeship training, that 4-year training that some states need. Some require 5. But then we also grow with our audience. So once you're licensed, we help you maintain that license with CEU courses for the state 2026 code updates for the NEC. We help you with just other secondary courses. We have OSHA trainers. We also have AHJ trainers. And then that follows. Now, let's say you're a contractor, a licensed electrician for the last 3, 4, 5 years. Now you want to move into business for yourself. We have our professional development side. So basically, the way we structured our nonprofit is to grow with our audience from that first video all the way up to scaling you until you have your own contracting business.
And see, this is what I've been imparting upon many businesses. They say, Emmett, why do you make so many videos? And I said, you have no idea the audience that I've reached. So if I'm talking, you've probably seen some of my videos where I'm just sitting talking
Yep.
about something I've seen online, and it brings awareness about something. Like the little,
Yeah.
the little things where you take a piece of iron pipe and you put all your plans in it and you just leave it on
Hmm.
site.
Yep.
That's stuff they don't necessarily teach you in school.
Yep.
That's stuff that
Exactly.
my dad taught me or an electrician taught me, that people are like, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
But what if you're in business, you should have a video aspect to
Okay.
your marketing.
Yep.
Even if it's
Especially
just
right now.
talking about, hey, a good interaction you had with a customer, a bad interaction with a customer, and how you resolved it. Or if someone's complaining about something, you should address it on video and disperse it on LinkedIn, TikTok. Believe it or not, I look at a lot of solo content on TikTok,
Yep.
Instagram, everywhere. Uh,
Yep.
so you're doing it right. And I appreciate that because
Yep.
that's how I found you.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's been fun. It's been fun. And just like what we mentioned about before, like 30 years ago, no one would think put all this education up online, talk about your experience because one side of it's the gatekeeping, but the other side it's uh, in the trades you always want to be seen, not heard. It's always up, bosses here, keep your head down, go to work. It was
Yeah.
like so all these things are just changing, and we're in a world now where you get to learn so much. And like I mentioned before, we're more connected than ever, but we all have the same pain points. So why aren't we addressing them?
Yeah.
So that's our personal push when it comes to the media side.
Are you guys doing anything towards EVs? And here's the reason I'm asking you this question is because even though the incentives for EVs are slowing and you're hearing this pushback about EVs, there's still used EVs in the market. Used EVs are probably going to outpace new EVs in the near future, but they still need that infrastructure. They not only need electricians, they also need software people. Are you guys delving into the software aspect and EVs as well?
I haven't personally. I didn't even know about that. We just finished a 3-port car garage right
Yeah.
now for a multifamily unit complex, a
Yeah.
condo association. And from my understanding, it was just straight electrical. But so that's something new to me completely.
Well, I just dropped a dime on you. I just send a check to Emmett when you get it
I
going.
know, I know. It's like why haven't we heard of this before
No,
then?
and I'm going to tell you why I say this. If you have an EV, there's a high probability that you will go to charge your vehicle away from your home.
Hmm.
And it won't be able to charge because it has to do some kind of transaction. It has to do some measurement and things like that. All that is driven off software.
Wow.
All of it's driven off of telemetry. So it's software running locally that's talking to a cloud that's communicating. It's just like an inverter.
Holy smokes.
So there's a bunch of PHP engineers that are needed. There are some SQL engineers that are needed to make sure that these things are running properly. So
Hmm.
looking at that, my brother.
Heck yeah. No, that's gonna be exciting now.
I told you I'm a nerd, man. This is what I do. So, what do you think is going to be the next step with not only your ventures into the future, but what do you think is on the horizon? Because I always say, if you really want to find out what the future is like, look at what 15 to 20-year-olds are doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's the number one demand? Right now, it's everyone just within 1 year. How much did this AI thing kick up? And now we have an AI generation that's blowing up. We have kids who, sadly are talking to AI more than they talk to their parents. So the simple fact of AI being used, that means the demand's just going to keep growing.
Yeah,
That turns to what you talked about with the data centers. That's the new gold rush right now. When it comes to data centers and the power, it's one of those things when it comes to use. Once something hits utility scale, it never goes away.
yeah,
So we're going to have a good push for the next 10 to 20 years, especially if you're the leading voice in that. You're going to have a big chunk of that. When it comes to installation, we all know it's the same thing. Green goes with the ground, black goes with black, red goes with red, and white goes with white. That's the easy part. As a whole, that just means we need more electricians. So that's why I'm in that aspect of let's get more licensed electricians to keep up with the demand that people are already using. They already tested out AI, it ain't going nowhere. If they take it away, people are going to figure out how to do it on their own now
they
with
will.
agent. Yeah, you gave someone something good, they don't want to leave it. When
So,
you find a girl who gives you a nice plate of dinner, trust me, you ain't trying to leave her. You know what I mean? Something just hits different, when
yeah.
there's a warm plate of food for you. So the same thing when it comes to with technology. And we have a whole youth who are using it now. They trying to figure out how do you apply that to everyday life? Because then you can argue with, do you use it? Do you take it away? It's a useful tool, or is it a crutch for some people? That's where I feel like more of the dilemma is. Because think about it. If everything in life before required schooling, you had to go to someone for that publication, you had to go to someone for
Mhm.
that curriculum, you had to go to someone for that certificate to perform a task. I had to go through a 4 year apprenticeship to learn 4 years worth of these books to then go to the state to take a test to allow me to switch out a light bulb. And now you have an AI that's telling you everything within those 4 years, everything that you need to do to switch out a light bulb. I
Yeah,
think
but
it's going to be exciting to see that bridge
it's
because it's either let's make the 4 year program a 2 year program because people are going to do it regardless.
yeah.
Now they have to cater to the new. I want to see how that goes. I want to see how the world reacts to it. I'm just here, whichever way they lean, to give them the training that they need.
Well, I have children that range 4 decades. They're spread out over 4 decades. So I got an OG who could be
Yeah.
considered in the same generation as me. And then I got one that's 16, and I've been able to see how the adaptability. One thing I can say, COVID screwed up a bunch of kids. It really screwed up their social interactivity, their level of confidence. I've never seen the word depression being used in such a, when I was a kid, even if you was getting bullied, you weren't depressed about it. It was just a thing. And I'm not negating what they're experiencing.
Yep.
I'm just saying I talk with my youngest daughter and my son, and I'm like, and I'm listening and pulling things in, trying to understand their world because that's what we have to understand. It's their world. We've experienced this stuff, and now we're just kind of chilling, going through
Mhm.
emotions, making the. So it will be interesting. Are you just localized in the East Coast, or are you planning to branch out further?
No, we're our goal is to become the new gold standard national across the board when it comes to the skill trades. We're really pushing for that outreach And we know, like what we touched on the media side, the only way to do that, I can reach more people on one video now, than traveling across the US, which is insane,
Yeah,
like every month when we have our partners and investors and we look at their analytics, they're just like, what else could we do? What else can we reach it? Because we understand this is also a long game.
yeah.
We're not looking to blow up now. And I think that's the most dangerous part about us is we know we have to wait. And I'm okay with that.
It's like
You
getting
know,
money too soon.
oh yeah, no, I'm okay with that. I love that. I love the fact that our first student, our first viral hit, our first big paycheck's going to be in 4 years.
Yeah.
I love the idea of that because that means no one could do anything right now that's going to hurt me. I know this is the time not to enjoy it, but we stack 4 years on 5 videos a day on 6 different platforms. And then it's that take 10, what was it that question, that riddle everyone says, do you want $1 million today or do you want a penny every day and we
Yeah.
double it?
Yeah.
I know in the 4 years when you type in electrical, when you type in solar, when you type in renewables, it's game over at that point,
Yeah.
and then we can now be there to give you the training because we don't want to just be clicks. We want, hey, how can we help you get that license so you can make it and you could take it to the next level yourself? So that
Yeah.
was always the vision. And my thing is, I just want to do this worldwide. I can't physically be on every job site, but if we can have a course, if we can have a video, if we can have a class or give you the resources that you need to be a part of you in one way, shape, or form on that project, that's the end goal.
Are you working with functions like SIA, NABCEP, NREL, all of these different groups that are really trying for the same goal?
Yeah, we have a lot of paths where we cross and we'll collaborate on one-off projects.
Yeah.
But what we feel like what we're doing and the approach that we have and just the media capture, we're in a league of our own. It's really a blue ocean, what we're trying to do from everything from media to in-house to professional development. It's really, it's a unique position that we're in. So it's been awesome getting to work with them on certain projects. But then, it's like once you see behind the curtain, it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do that. Let's
Right.
do this differently. Once again, we appreciate the work that they've done up to now, but there's a phrase I always start my meetings with when it comes to our board members and our partners. It's a phrase that I've been saying since I was 15, 16, and I never really understood it till now, like seeing it. What got us here won't get us to the next level. That's a
Mhm.
phrase that's always stuck with me. And that goes back to the 30. I've been doing this for 30 years. It's like, okay, but how do we get to the next level? If you think the last 30 years was perfect, let's try this one thing.
Yeah.
And if these individuals, these other organizations have this one mindset of like, hey, let's tackle this and this approach, I'm like, why don't we try this? Oh, well, let's try that next year. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it. And then boom. So it's like, but yeah, we had some great, like right now, we're working right now exclusively with RE Plus, everything from media to installs to education now. And I know that's a bracket with SIA as well, but it's just been an exciting year. It's been
Okay.
an exciting year.
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you at the NABCEP conference because I'm going to be there.
I hope so too. I hope so
So,
too.
hey man, I just wanted to, first of all, I appreciate it was such a quick, I just threw it out there and I was like, hey, let's chop it up and have a conversation, get to know each other. Because I see you're making big waves, you know, in the atmosphere and just to give people like, let them know who you are, except outside of a 60-second somebody.
Right? Exactly. That short window we got.
Yeah, because you can formulate an opinion about someone and you can formulate opinion from this, but it gives you a broader perspective. And being
Exactly.
in the industry, I think it's important for us to be, like you said, open and honest. Like you and I can sit here and talk about something, we can not agree on it, but we can debate our sides together. And then maybe 2 days from now, you're like, Emmett had a point there, or I can maybe,
Mhm.
maybe oh, I see how Will was looking at it now. These are the things we want to do. But so thank you for being on the WhatsApp Solar Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, now remember, people, this happens to us every day. Some days it's not as bright, but it's the sun, it comes up. Now, as the year progresses, it's higher and it illuminates us more. Around this time of the year, it kind of takes rest and it slowly goes across the southern sky. But no matter what state that sun is in, the sun will never, ever do this one thing: send you a bill. Till next time, love you all. Peace.